Very good afternoon. This is the Media News with Sharon Kalimbola. Top stories: KACHASU brewers in garden compound at loggerheads with government. Huge spending by political parties undermining the viability of democracy charges the Transparency International Zambia.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry.
There's so much data.
Mom.
Yes, baby.
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
The media news in detail. Community members in Lusaka's garden compound have challenged government to create alternative solutions before destroying their only source of income. Speaking to the media when Minister of Local Government, Gary Nkombo, and the local authority raided the area, a hub for KACHASU brewers, one of the residents says KACHASU brewing in the area is the main source of income and that cannot be ignored. Meanwhile, Local Government and Rural Development Minister Gary Nkombo Tuesday raided KACHASU brewers in Lusaka's garden compound in the company of state and council police, destroyed several drums of KACHASU and warned the brewers to desist from such illegal acts. Details in this report.
KACHASU brewing is a common business in most compounds of Zambia, and Lusaka province tops the list as most families in compound depend on brewing of KACHASU as their own source of income. The alcohol content in KACHASU is not known but believed to be very high, causing a lot of those who consume KACHASU to lose their senses after consuming it. Local Government and Rural Development Minister Gary Nkombo Tuesday afternoon raided KACHASU brewers in Lusaka's garden compound in the company of the state and council police and poured drums of KACHASU that were being found brewed.
Inkani amene echitika mu Chimunzi iyononga abantu. Mwamvera? Iyononga abantu. Olo chinkale bwanji kulibe pamene tizavomera ife boma amene inabwera manje kuvemekeza kuti vana vavanzatu bazifera mu KACHASU. Vana vamene vafunika kuti vaende ku maskulu, vana vamene vafunika kuti vakankale madokta, vakankale manesi, vakankale mapresident vaonongokera mu KACHASU. Kuno ndiye kwamene kupangika vamene muitana ati majanki.
Criminality levels have also increased in the country owing to the fact that productivity levels have reduced among men, women and the youths as they spend most of their valuable time drinking KACHASU in these compounds.
Sometimes ole mwana wamene samvera pa nyumba ni kutenga kamutengo na kumushapa. Chifukwa chakuti ngati mwamusirira chabe ni chimwana we mwamuononga. So nifuna nilaire kuno sitizasiya tayambalero sitizasiya kusiya imwe mamene munkala kuno kupaya bana babanzanu mwamvesesa ka ndiye faino yamene nabwera kukamba ine wamene nikamba pano ndine Nkombo Gary Nkombo.
And a community member has appealed to the minister to provide KACHASU brewers with other sources of income and ensure that junkies are removed from this compound if the KACHASU business is to be brought to an end.
Tifuna pali majanki na yebe msevenzerepo ngasi msevenzerapo nishina bantu wazareka kupika because wanu mwamini wa mwana wapikira mamura ndi mwana wapezera ndalama zochitira survive so wezi mwataya wasakirieni na vochita.
For others, the decision has been repealed. The community then started to throw stones on police officers who later fired tear gas to displace the crowds. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Well, Senior Chief Kalinda Walo of the Nsenga-speaking people in Petauke District, Eastern Province, is delighted that the reduction of malaria cases in Petauke have been recorded. The senior chief says a reduction in malaria is a clear indication that government does not want to leave anyone behind in the provision of quality healthcare services. The traditional leader says the fight against malaria should not be left to government, but that everyone should take it personal. Details in this. Senior Chief Kalinda Walo of the Nsenga-speaking people in Petauke District of Eastern Province has applauded government for the efforts made to reduce high number of malaria cases. 25th April 2022, Zambia commemorated World Malaria Day, to which Health Minister revealed that the country has significantly made progress on malaria cases from 428 per 1,000 population in 2020 to 340 per 1,000 population in 2021. While most cases are recorded in rural areas, Petauke in Eastern Province has received a fair share of improvement in the containment of malaria. The traditional leader has in this regard praised government for putting up measures that has in turn reduced malaria cases in Petauke district. The senior chief was speaking at Kaulu Day Secondary School in a speech read on his behalf by senior induna Samuel Mwanza.
Kondwera chalo kondwera unenda kuti muno mziko yake ya Petauke kusenga muno malaria ya tomhako ya chepako pachifukwa niki luso ya waza umoyo pakuyaba maukonde ku bantu kufafaza mavalo ofunikira manyumba ndiponzo ngakale chifundiso cyo kupereka kunena kuti ngakale malo asutunkhala mauzu akakula kukwapa zinyalala izitofuikira kunena kuti ni muvyalika luimbo.
Meanwhile, Petauke District Administrative Officer Vincent Chibuya, who spoke on behalf of Petauke District Commissioner Martha Molenga, says the district has a huge task to eliminate malaria transmission by the year 2026.
We have a huge task ahead of us to eliminate local malaria transmission by 2026. This fight against malaria can only be won within the framework of public, private, civil society partnership with the ordinary citizens at the epicenter of this collaboration. Let us inform all our communities to change their old behavior of refusing their houses to be sprayed, not going for antenatal clinics and using mosquito nets for fishing, trying charcoal bags, curtains to mention but a few. I wish to know that Petauke district has trained 480 community health workers in integrated community case management. Currently, they are able to test and treat malaria cases in our communities.
Meanwhile, District Hospital Director Dr. Richie Siabwalo says the reduction in malaria cases has been so because of several interventions government has put in place.
As a district, we've seen a reduction in the incidences of malaria, starting from 2021, where we saw from 2020 where we saw a slight increase, and then a reduction in 2020 going into 2022. This has come in because of the high impact interventions that we put in place as a district in order to combat malaria. You will know that we've been distributing ITNs to the population, the under 5 children, as well as the pregnant mothers.
Zambia has recorded over 6.3 million cases of malaria in 2021 and 1,480 deaths, in most cases being recorded in rural areas. Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News. In other news, Transparency International Zambia TIZ has called for the fine-tuning of the political parties bill in order to regulate spending and sources amongst political parties during elections. TIZ Zambia Democratic Governance lead Chimukana Chiringa says political parties have to disclose their sources of funding to avoid state capture by interested persons and entities. He says huge spending in political parties undermines the viability of democracy and development. He was speaking during the CSOs and academia training workshop on legislative and regulatory frameworks of political parties and campaign financing. details in this report.
The issue of sources of funding for political parties has been a bone of contention in Zambia, and the 2021 general election was no exception. But it has been about the perception based on suspicion, as political parties cannot be compelled to disclose the source of funding, as there is no such law at the moment. The 2021 polls saw big money spending mounted by the Patriotic Front, the United Party for National Development UPND, and the Socialist Party, according to the report that was conducted by Transparency International Zambia, which revealed that the three political parties were among big spenders during the campaign period. The fear is that if political parties are not being regulated, the country risks being captured by people with selfish interests over the country's resources. Ahead of the 2021 poll, money was in abundance to the extent that others converted the currency into beddings at the expense of the majority poor Zambians. In some instances, citizens had to line up for money during political events. And Transparency International Zambia Democratic Governance lead Chimuka Nachivinga says there is a need to regulate political party fundings.
People think that if they have got more money, they can buy their way through as far as leadership is concerned. So it has also distorted the attitude or thinking about the citizens. So right now, citizens think that if somebody has got money, that's the only person that they can elect to leadership. But things don't work like that. We want, as Transparency International Zambia, to ensure that we have got this piece of legislation enacted and also implemented in Zambia so that we can have the political environment leveled in terms of political parties sourcing for their funds, and also ensuring that we have got a mark in terms of how much money a political party can use in a country as far as our campaigns are concerned.
Meanwhile, Caritas Democracy and Governance Officer Wublod Kangala says political parties must be regulated through the Political Parties Bill and emphasize the need on community mobilization so that the process can be citizen-driven.
Because remember, these are the finances that definitely will influence at some point how these people, once they are given the power or the mantle to govern us, how they are going to, govern the country. And it's the same funding, if not, if anything, disclosed and be told where the funding is coming and the intention of the funders. That if you are not as citizens and as civil society organizations taking advantage and wanting to know the source, will influence even the policy. Because surely for someone to fund, sometimes they are seeing huge funds of money being deposited into these political parties, accounts. There should be some motives behind that. So it's always important as a country to have such a piece of legislation in place so that we start regulating and also taking advantage of such a piece of legislation in civil society.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Finally, in our news, a former United Party for National Development, Monze Urban Ward Councillor Wumba Pandwe, has condemned the stance taken by Opposition Patriotic Front Media Director to disparage President Hakainde Hichilema and the Tonga people in general. In a statement to Camnet TV, Mr. Pandwe notes that the Patriotic Front has failed to provide proper checks and balances to the ruling party, adding that they have reduced the democratic space to debates on issues of ethnicity. The former civic leader has in this regard accused Mr. Nakachinda and other members of the Patriotic Front of trying to divert people's attention from real issues of their alleged plunder of public resources committed by the PF clique. Meanwhile, Mr. Pandwe has advised the Patriotic Front to accept defeat, reflect and understand that the UPND administration is doing better this far. He says it is time that the Zambian people rose to the occasion and denounced such divisive politics in Zambia. Let's listen in.
We want to rise to the occasion and say to these political riffraffs that enough is enough to politics of insults, division and tribe. Let the clique relax and reflect. Wa PF accept the 2021 crushing election defeat, and then reflect on the bad things that you actually subjected the people of Zambia. One advice I'll give you is that in the reflection, you should actually equally be able to account to the Zambian people. You're very laughable. You would even hear Nakachinda from that bad audio. How can a man of Nakachinda's caliber start comparing himself to President Hakainde Hichilema over the issue of exposure? Exposure to what? Exposure to theft or insults? Or what exactly? The answer is best known by ourselves.
Well, that item brings us to the end of our news. The headlines once again. KACHASU brewers in garden compound at loggerheads with government. Huge spending by political parties undermining the viability of democracy charges Transparency International Zambia. For that note ends our news this afternoon. Thank you so much for choosing us. Good afternoon.